All right, everyone. Thank you all for joining us. I'm Angela Diffley. I'm the co-founder of the Restaurant Technology Network. We are here today to have another exciting and exhilarating AI share group. And we've hosted about, I don't know, 5 of these or maybe 7 of these, and it's been phenomenal. And what we do is we have some of the AI emerging and established players on the call, and we allow them to sort of do a quick hit introduction of what they're doing, provide some sort of spotlight on real world case studies that restaurants are doing now, how they're using AI now. And we're also just letting them sort of spotlight their solutions because it's a dizzying array of players in the space, as we all know. So this is a way to kind of cut through the noise and give everybody a chance to tell what they're all about, what they're focusing on, how they're helping restaurants sort of optimize their operations and their operational flow and their customer experience via artificial intelligence. So with that, we're going to get started. We have a lot of information to cover today, and it's super exciting. These are our topics. We are going to cover voice AI ordering, both in the drive-through kiosks and AI-enabled IoT for voice ordering. We also are going to cover AI call centers, price elasticity with AI and machine learning, AI and connected devices when it comes to temperature and power consumption, as well as AI and how they're using kiosks with AI outside of voice, employee safety, store analytics, and customer analytics, which is super cool. We're always about, whoops, I'm sorry, everyone. We're always about data and how interesting AI applications are with data, because obviously AI is taking data and doing everything with it, and that's how it gets smart. And then finally, we're going to look at AI language translation and how that's kind of taking shape in the space. So with that, we're going to go ahead and dive in, starting with Presto. Do I have Dan on the call? Dan Mosier,
yeah,
the president of Presto.
there. I'm here.
Hi, Dan.
So basically, she is personal front.
Can everybody hear Dan? Dan, I think we
I'm going to get going. Yeah, I think somebody was not on mute, but I'm going to kick it off. Thanks, Angela. Thanks for having me. Yes, I'm Dan Mosier. I'm the president of Presto. Presto is a leader in drive-through AI. Presto provides solutions overall for automating restaurants in general. The company started in the casual dining space doing a tabletop product for casual dining chains. We're live in Chili's and Red Lobster and Applebee's today, but we've focused primarily the last couple of years on voice AI and really focused around helping labor optimization in the drive-through, helping our restaurants retain their staff better. It's been a very big problem for most restaurants these days, as everybody on this call is aware, keeping and retaining staff. And this has been a product that's really helped them to keep their churn rate low on their employee base because it really helps make the job a little bit more enjoyable. It also helps drive revenue. We're seeing more upsells getting sold in the drive-through now than they were before the AI went in place. And the end customers are happier as well. So we're in about 350 drive-throughs today across the US. So we've got a lot of experience in terms of AI itself. You see some of the customers we're working with on the bottom there. If you want to go to the next slide, Angela, I can talk a little bit about kind of the metrics, like what's most important. So what we see, and now that we've been at this really for about 2 years, most important is the non-intervention rate. So our restaurants want to know that once the voice solution is in place, that they know their staff is very rarely going to have to come into play and actually take on that order. So that means the AI itself has to be able to handle different modifier changes, things that are complicated, customers that change their mind, customers that are ordering. We're in a lot of restaurants that are 24 hours a day, and you can imagine some of the orders we're handling at 3 in the morning, which even humans have a tough time dealing with. And we actually do have, in addition to our voice AI, we have human agents on the back end that are also monitoring the orders and making sure that every order gets placed has the highest likelihood of being successful, and that the order is mostly as accurate as possible. So that really helps kind of create an overlay in the system, which helps us get up to that 95% non-intervention rate. We are saving labor. 3 to 6 hours a day is what we're saving. That's becoming very important. I think that folks know that there's been a recent law passed in California, which is going to raise the minimum wage for restaurant workers up to $20 an hour. That's a 33% increase on the minimum wage just in California. Now, our politicians out here are, not great business people, but this is restaurants are franchisees that we're speaking with now are alarmed by this, and they really are thinking about automation solutions that are going to help them going forward. And then I talked a little bit about upsells. At the end of the day, revenue is really important, and we've seen, we upsell about 80% of the orders get some type of upsell, and that could be either a combo, that could be an additional item like a dessert, and we're seeing very good conversion on that, which drives 6% or more higher ticket size, which is very important for franchisees who are, looking to really grow their revenue. If you go to the next slide, one of the things that we get asked a lot about is the response of the end guest to AI. This is obviously a new phenomenon. Most people have experience with like a Siri or Alexa or even their phone systems that they go into, but it's still pretty jarring for people to go into the drive-thru for the first time and hear this. And so we did a survey, and we tried to really understand what the guests thought of the AI, and in a real world restaurant. So we interviewed them after they went through. If you go to the next slide, it kind of gives you a little bit of a sense of what the guests said. So 92% of the folks we surveyed said they were just as likely or more to visit the drive-through system with the automated ordering system in place. And I think even this is early innings, so we were pretty surprised and excited about the early returns from the customers. And when we talked to them a little bit more about, okay, why would you come back more? They said, listen, really just, we care about efficiency. We care that our order gets taken correctly. The system is, answers me right away when I pull up into the drive-through. It talks to the customer right away, and the customers are excited about that.
Did you eat already?
Used to, when they're actually pulling into the drive-through today, a lot of times the human staff will put them on hold as the human staff is dealing with other issues. And then we also saw.
I just muted everyone. So Dan, if you could unmute yourself. Sorry, I was just trying to.
Yeah, no
background
problem.
was down. Sorry about that. So go ahead, Dan.
And
Sorry.
then we asked them whether they thought the AI was as good or better than the staff. And we thought most of the people said it was about the same. And then it was about half and half. Half thought it was better, half thought it was worse. But given that this is early innings, we were pretty excited and impressed with those results as well. And most people are like on board with this drive-through. I think you'll always have a few holdouts, but we're excited about driving. If you go to the next slide, it just talks about we're really expanding quickly now on this. Checkers is one of our biggest deployments to date, but really CKE is the next big one. They've got a lot of folks that are interested in this from the franchisee side. We've signed up 13 different franchise groups now, and these are all independent franchises making independent decisions. And CKE is a big platform. There's about 2,800 restaurants overall, and there's a few other competitors in the mix. So we're leading the charge here, but it's I think CKE has been a bit of an early adopter, and we really hope that this is a great result for Voice AI overall. So that's it for me. Thanks for having me, Angela.
Yeah, excellent presentation. Thank you, Dan. That was really fascinating. Those numbers are impressive. So thank you for sharing. Next on deck, we have Jay Ruparel, who is the co-founder and CEO of VoicePlug AI. Hi, Jay.
Hi, Angela. Thanks for having me. So just as a quick background, VoicePlug is doing AI ordering at different ordering channels. We have solution for phone ordering through the AI. We have drive-through. And what I'm going to talk about today is our kiosk AI solution, which we have just started deploying with a couple of customers. So if you can go to the next slide. This is kind of an evolution from the solutions we had at the other ordering channels. But the focus here is how to avoid guests queuing up to the cashiers and how to make an effective contactless ordering and payment solution. And so what we have built with the Kiosk AI is you basically can use natural conversations voice, but it is also synced with the display. So essentially, it's a multimedia ordering experience. You can speak the item, the modifiers, and you can actually see the item being built right there on the screen. And we have different configurations, to allow for if there are kids who want to have a little more interactive experience, you can actually have a different experience for them versus someone who is in a rush and just wants to get through the experience quickly. And where the focus will be more on efficiency. And then there's a lot of personalization. We have an IoT device linked to this, which I'll talk about. Essentially, this allows for guest identification, and so you can welcome the guest through a personalized greeting. You can recall the history of what they have ordered. You can ask them if they would like to go to their favorite order, or you can, depending on different promotions that you are having, depending on the time of the day, different conditions, you can actually upsell, cross-sell different items. And one of the things that we have built here is that the restaurant can push dynamic menu and promotions. This allows for the restaurant a lot more flexibility. If there are multiple locations, they can decide what kind of menu and what promotions to be prioritized at what location. Again, depending on time of the day of the week, weather conditions, and item availability, all of this can be customized. And this is available both as and on-prem and cloud options. So depending, again, on where the location is, we can offer either of those options. And if we go to the next slide, this is basically the IoT device that we have, which is essentially working behind the scenes. Both for our kiosk solution, we have a similar IoT device that works for the drive-through as well. It is like a plug and play in the sense, existing drive-through audio systems, and we have some of the partners mentioned there, and that's a growing list. We can seamlessly integrate with existing drive-through systems, existing kiosk providers. So we don't need to really get into the basic hardware piece of it. It allows for ambient noise filtration, which is very important when you are having a kiosk and you have, it's a busy restaurant, a lot of walk-in guests. You want to make sure that you are able to filter both human as well as non-human noise, because there are some solutions that can give you the ambient noise filtration, but when it comes to overlapping human voices, you can't do that. So we have kind of worked over the last several months to see that we are able to filter distracting other human noise. And this applies to the drive-through as well. If you have people, if there is crosstalk going on, even at the kiosk, you sometimes find that there is a primary speaker, but then they are talking to someone else, asking what they would like to order. And so we have this technology called the primary speaker hone-in technology, where the kiosk, the IoT device understands who is the primary speaker, who is the one placing the order, and will neglect other human noises in the background. It's also has different options in terms of whether the processing can be done on-prem, edge, or on the cloud. And again, depending on the context of the restaurant, we can allow for any of these options to play out. So Angela, if you have time, we can run this quick video. This is a sample video, and these what you will see here is basically a glimpse of how the voice and the display sync happens with customization of the menu being built up on the kiosk. The pictures are not real menu items because we couldn't use that for proprietary reasons. We have some sample pictures, but it will give you a flavor of how this works on the kiosk.
Welcome to Crustcraft Sandwich Company. I am Gina. I will be assisting with your order. You can check out the menu on the screen. What would you like to order?
Crustcraft Original.
Do you want light size, half size, or whole Crustcraft Original?
Light size.
We add freshly sliced ham, bologna, salami, pepperoni, and cheese to the Crustcraft Original. For your sandwich, which bread would you like? You can choose one from white bread, wheat bread, or garlic pepper bread.
Wheat bread.
So the items basically get built, and this is where we can personalize, customize the pace at which
Cheese would you like?
you
Choose
want
from
the
American
items to be
cheddar,
built.
pepper jack, provolone, or Swiss.
I want Swiss cheese.
I'll pause it there, Jay.
Sure. Yeah. Just wanted to give a quick view, but that's it from my
Yeah.
side. Yeah. Thanks.
Great. Thank you, Jay. So if you have questions, please type them in the Q&A. We already have one for Dan at Presto, but we will keep going with the presentations, and at the end we'll answer them. Or Dan, I don't know if you can jump into the Q&A and answer the question, but we will keep it rolling.
Welcome to Crustcraft Sandwich.
All right. Next on deck, we have Sanjeev Vaishnav, who's the founder of Centra AI. Hi, Sanjeev.
I have to unmute myself. Thank you, Angela, and thank you, everyone. I think we have to copy all what Jay said from the last voice plug. So pretty much, we are Centra.ai is our new name, and I started this company just by an accident. You can say that I'm pretty techy guy. As you can see, we are not prepped from the sales pitch side of it, but I would like to share some of my experiences with the AI. And as a core capabilities of Centra.ai is integration, and we have an expertise in-house for real-time data. Anything which you want real-time, we will make it happen. And on top of it, goal is to make it more cost-effective solutions, right? So bottom line is we would like to present, Breeze, which is, as you said, it's our AI at your service. And then the idea is to do the 30-second checkout. As you see, you have two kiosks in this picture. One is for retail, one is for food. So we'll talk about the food for now. So can we go to the next slide? As you see, as most of the challenges are pretty much same what Jay and Brian covered, as you see, a lot of people are hitting in the lines, the labor shortage is coming up. And then eventually, the growth of the business is the key here, right? How do you take it to the next level? And believe it or not, my experience, I've been to Starbucks a few times, only two people are there. One is taking an order and one is trying to jump all over to even to fulfill those orders, and make those baristas are all over, rather than focusing on the product right now, they just, again, they have to kind of optimize their resources. Henceforth, the Breeze is the solution for skill shortage for the skilled labor. And as what if you go to the Angela next slide, I'll just take you to the next one. That is much easier. Yeah. So this is where you see this one box has pretty much everything in the box, right? We are running this solution out of cloud, and we are heavily now using ChatGPT. This whole solution is based out of ChatGPT. It's not just boxed right now. It's a more dynamic rather than what we are seeing in the market. It's as we are creating the models, and then models are based on your promotions, as you want to do a daily happy hours, so pretty much it will be in sync with your existing price line, right? And having said that, with this in efficiency, is one key here. It's you will be able to check out much faster. For example, you can come to this kiosk and you say, I just need a croissant and a black coffee. It will just show you in the cart and just tap in the for the payment and you're out of it. Or you can tokenize the payments And pretty much, our goal is like, as you see, our goal is to check you out in 30 seconds, right? At this point, we are in, we are able to integrate into Clover. We are able to integrate into Toast. If you have any of those POS, this is a plug and play kiosk. You just take it out and just put it on a stand and ready to roll, right? And then on top of it, like, if you want to integrate with your existing payment gateway rather than using our standard, any of the Stripe and the PAX one, you have something of your own, we can integrate into those payment gateways. But again, bottom line is like, my experience with this AI has been, for many years, as we were just chatting before this meeting, like, I've been doing AI, you can say in the Excel or Notepad when I started my career. Now I think means are very easy. And having said that, in our my experience, as we are training this Chat GPT, the challenges, I would like to share my challenges, like as a company, we should also educate the whole audience here. The challenges we see when you have a very short conversation, it works like charm, but if you take a pause, say, oh, let me think, you're talking to your kid and you're asking something, and those, conversations get diluted with the order, right? So if you hold this order for a long time, this thing kind of, we are still working on that model where it pauses, and then you just like, the length of that dialogue goes longer, it becomes a bit chaotic, I'll be honest with you. And then same time, you need a blazing fast, like, speed of your processor, like, that's the reason we have to pick the latest and the greatest hardware. And that's the thing, like cost of these devices are pennies right now. So you have to leverage the cost of these devices, the speed of the internet, and guess what, as your labor is a big challenge, and don't compromise on your services right now. It's like, focus on the product and we'll focus on your orders. So that's the key message here. And at the same time, we have added a Spanish language as we grow. So this is our first pilot is going in the Mexico, and then I will share my pilot results hopefully in next few months. We have signed a few big brands to do the pilots, and again, typically it was my desire to go outside America in Mexico to do a Spanish. So, we will have a core Spanish model. When you start this, kiosk, it will kind of ask you which language you want to start with, English or Spanish. And the moment you pick Spanish, it will do the whole conversation in Spanish. And pretty much that's all my side. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sanjeev. There's a question for you in the chat when you get a chance. We'll keep it rolling. And there's Sanjeev's information if you want to contact him. We also dropped it in the chat with his LinkedIn. And we will move on to Ram Krupp, who is the founder and CEO of OneDine. And Ram, please tell everybody about Red Onion.
Yeah, a lot of you are kind of confused. Why is OneDine Red Onion? So before there was OneDine, there was Red Onion, which was actually Marketing Vitals. So there's a prequel to the sequel. But specifically around Red Onion, we've been in the space of understanding how to use early steps of AI, which was machine learning and neural nets, all the way through today. So we have a rich history coming up to 10 years of really using that data to look at data. We're using the technology to look at data, because we accumulate data probably 10 to 20 times faster than we know what to do with the data. So it's always a challenge where brands have so much information, but not a big enough investment on making sense out of that information and not fast enough to act on it. So a lot of times the information is more of a retrospectively looking back and saying what happened, but we're not really acting on data fast enough to formalize our business, right? So we started the company in 2013. The goal really was, how do we take all this data that's both generated by restaurants and data that we can bring into it, like weather, data you can train it, things like marketing events, marketing spend, store events, and so on and so forth. And then you want to create a baseline, right? So the key was, how do we use machine learning to create a predictive pattern of the business? So once you have a predictive pattern of the business, once you can predict forward what the business should look like, you can start looking at deviations and then understand what's the causation of everything you do. What's the causation of weather? What's the causation of an LTO? What's the causation of a loyalty launch, right? So the key was to create a strong baseline that does not require any financial analyst input into projection and forecasting, but it's happening in real time, moving forward, based on real-time elements, based on progression, how the week is going, what events are being entered, And we were able to establish this baseline. So that was like the first baseline that was important to build a platform on top of, because otherwise, if you don't have a clean baseline of what the business should look like or is looking like, it's hard to understand causation of things that are happening to the business. In the foundation of it, we also have to understand causation and of user change, user behavioral change, right? So we have to learn the loyalty program impact, the credit card usage, and things like that. So we needed to create predictability in every single guest. As we move forward and we built a really strong projection line, you start looking at what are the two main KPIs that the industry is built on. And the two main KPIs is really traffic and spend, right? We look at check average or guest average, we look at traffic. The challenge is that restaurants never had a good grasp on the real counts of guest count, right? So either it relies on user entry fields, which is subjective to change. And if you're in a high bar mix, it might have a baseline issue where you're not capturing all the guests if they're in happy hour, or you're capturing too many guests if you're starting a guest count in every transaction. And then you try to come up with some creative ways of doing entree counts, cover counts. 2.5 guests has never been a reality. We laugh about it, but we never did anything to fix it. There are no 2.5 guests per party, right? So looking at all that, we have to create a way that the system can also learn and project how many people were present in every single experience. So when I have a check, a table turn, whatever it might be, I can actually say there were 2 people there. There weren't 2.5, there weren't 3, there were actually 2 people there. And that baseline allows us to create a better understanding on customer spend and customer frequency. Think about a simple example. If I'm sitting at the bar having 2 beers and you're not counting me and I spend $10, and then I go sit down in the dining room and I spend $20 on food, you'll see me as a single guest, right? But the check averages will not accumulate the fact that I spent 30. You'll look at it potentially as 2 transactions, spend 15 each. But there was one person spent 30, or there's a party at the bar drinking $30 worth of beer, and then there's a party at the table spending $30 worth of food. You have a head count of only 2, $60 to spend. It tells you every person spent $30, but the reality is every person spent 15. So if you don't understand that, which will drive me to one of the examples I'm going to give you, you don't really understand how people spend money or what the real head count. So using neural nets, you were able to build an understanding on how, based on the transaction lifecycle, what really happened in transaction and how many people are there. And that allows us to drive a very accurate guest count per check, not a daily average, which then allows us to understand basket usage and spend usage and things like that. And then we continue going, and we looked at what we can do now. Once we have a good baseline of both traffic and spend and predictability, how we can use it. So we built different technologies. One of them I'm going to show you is looking at what we call price elasticity of demand. So a lot of times in the restaurant industry, we default into shopping price-based and competitive. But we're not gas stations, right? We're not always selling a commodity. There's an element to our products that's greater than how much it costs. I haven't met a lot of people that start their morning going, what's the cheapest burger in town today I should go eat? That's not how we buy food, right? And because of that, you really have to understand, based on the behavior of customers, how elastic or inelastic they are by the mix they purchase. So instead of the traditional wisdom of beef prices went up, let's charge more for our hamburgers, maybe the customers who are buying hamburgers show patterns of high elasticity, which means if you take a price, they'll offset it by decreased frequency or decreased spend, so they'll give up the shake at the end. But the people who are buying our shrimp product right now are inelastic, and you could raise them to offset the rising cost of beef and not drive changes in behavior of the guest. So by using a strong baseline of baskets and guest counts and using a strong baseline of predictability, we're able to, with a few dials of goal setting, determine in seconds what strategic price increases can you take. And these are not in demand, they're not like demand-based prices, they're permanent price changes. What can I take strategically and surgically to achieve the goal with the lowest possible impact to guest behavior or retention? So that's a use case that's based on foundation that took years to build of establishing those baselines. We're now investing a lot in NLP. So one of the things we found is we built very sophisticated tools, and we've done it for a long time. But brands have yet to invest as much in the departments of analyzing data and business analysts. It's still very light compared to the amount of data they have to look at. So we require today training. We have to educate our customers how to use our technology. While it's very intuitive, you still have to learn how to use it. So now we've started the process of implementing, and we're releasing it in cycles, the ability to interact with all the sophisticated tools we built just with natural language. So instead of me saying, I want to have all these dials dial up, I can ask a question. Which items can I take price right now that will not impact frequency more than X, but increase my revenue by Y? And by asking that question, it will run the analysis for you and then give you the outcome and the recommended results. So as we continue investing, as I said, for now almost 10 years in different aspects of AI, we're now also shifting it away just from the AI to use data to be smarter, but the AI to use to make our tool easier for our customers to use. So it's been a long journey. I know a lot of people are new into the space, but when we started building in 2013, there wasn't a lot of technology out there we could just pluck off the shelf and use. So we had to build a lot of our own stacks and a lot of our own BI platforms and things like that. So we've been on the forefront of this for a long time, and a lot of that learning also carried over to the creation of OneDyn. So with that, I appreciate everybody's time.
Thank you, Ram. Yeah, I like the use of the AI within the AI. That's smart. I appreciate that. Awesome presentation. We're going to flip over now to a different kind of AI application, which is Connected Fresh. We have Tushar Agrawal on the call, who's the co-founder and CTO of Connected Fresh. Thanks for joining us, Tushar.
Thanks, Angela. Appreciate RTN giving us an opportunity to talk about Connected Fresh. Hello, everyone. My name is Tushar Agrawal, co-founder of Connected Fresh. At Connected Fresh, we are trying to provide food service operators a combination of 24/7 monitoring with automated AI-driven insights, so they can identify issues when or before they occur. To achieve this, we basically deploy wireless asset-agnostic IoT sensors, which can last multiple years on a single battery charge to enable use cases like temperature logging, restroom cleanliness, power consumption. So in terms of maturity, this is the maturity one, which we are trying to provide a lot of assets which do not have connectivity to begin with. So how do you get data out of them? So after enabling these types of use cases, it goes one step further into driving insights based on the deep learnings which we get from these condition data. This gives teams an unprecedented ability to preempt any equipment issues, prevent compliance and food safety incidents, and costly human errors in general. Can you please go on the next slide, Angela?
Sure.
Yeah. So here, what we are trying to achieve for our customers is, so far, they have been reactive to problems. For example, if an asset is out of temperature, like, for example, a walk-in freezer, cooler, and so on, usually it's reactive. So until an incident has happened, I'll wait for it and I react on it until it breaks. A preventive way to do that is, hey, I'm maintaining it on a regular basis. I have a maintenance contract with a maintenance provider, but this can also significantly lead to certain issues which are unforeseen. For example, before a preventive maintenance happen, your asset can go down and you won't realize that. What we are trying to get our customers to a maturity point of where you can be much more proactive versus reactive. And at the same time, using the power of IoT sensors and data and matching it with AI-driven insights, making it much more predictive. So you would get a threshold-based alarms and alerts, but we can do actual statistical analysis to find out anomalies for you. A great example of that is, let's say you have a walk-in fridge, you may be maintaining the temperature, right, as you require it to be at, but maybe your compressor is working way over time to achieve that. How do you find that? Because that's not visible to you all the time. So correlating, for example, temperature data with power consumption can showcase how your compressor may show early sign of failures, which can lead to significant capital expense or operational expense. And nobody wants to come to a restaurant or a retail and see, hey, all of my food is out of temperature and out of I have to either throw this and then at the same time do a huge capital expense in terms of either replacing or repairing that large asset. But we are not just stopping there. We are just we are going one step further to making it much more prescriptive. But as you can see, within the AI realm of things, it is a maturity level. So you have to achieve predictive and proactive first before you can be prescriptive. What I mean by that is, let's say you are achieving that anomaly detection and you can predict your failure up to a certain degree. And based on that, it can be actionable, and you are maybe raising a maintenance work order by automating this, or manually by notifying a particular user. But then a lot of times you don't know what to do after that. So taking it one step further and making it prescriptive, where you can actually interact with the platform of suggesting you actionable next steps. So how do you achieve that? You basically feed into the system of deep learning insights of, these are my conditions based on XYZ, and how did I maintain this asset in the past? What worked? What didn't work? How many maintenance incidents it actually had based on the age of the asset? So feeding through that through a natural language processing model and deep learning models, we can basically give customers unprecedented way to, hey, this is my next step I need to do to be able to fix these issues. And this helps them significantly in terms of reducing their overhead. For example, one of the QSR was notified within first 24 hours of deploying Connected Fresh that one of their asset is down, and it is reaching towards a significant loss. And they were able to save that product and go in the middle of the night to be able to understand that, like what exactly happened. This won't be possible without a platform which is actually helping you proactively. It's very hard to keep track of all the assets, especially in the multi-unit realm. One of our other major customers, it's a large grocery chain. They were able to prove to USDA that they are maintaining that temperature logs and compliance. And not only that, they can prove that that asset is maintained at a certain cadence, and none of the food items were actually affected, which in contrast, they would have to send it to a lab and prove it by doing a lot of costly processing in between to FDA, or throw it all out, which can lead to tens of thousands of dollars worth of loss for them. So using this system and enabling it is very, very easy. We are trying to make the user experience of enabling these systems like seamless. So you just receive asset agnostic sensors, no matter what type of equipment you have. You can literally place a sensor like this on an asset, and it is wireless, can last multiple years, and it won't cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars to implement it from a system integrator, for yourself. So anyone can, any large multi-unit and single unit restaurants can easily enable this just by setting up our system. So yeah, so that was pretty much I wanted to share with you guys. I appreciate everyone's time. Thank you.
Thanks, Tushar. Fascinating stuff. And there, you have a question in the chat. When you get a second, address that, if you will, for everybody to see. Let's move on to Radius AI.
Absolutely.
We have Andy Hills on the call. She's the head of global growth and strategy. Hi, Andy.
Hey, great to be with you. Thank you for inviting me, Angela. And it's so nice to hear from all of my AI technology peers in the ecosystem and see so many operators on as well. So Radius AI has been in business since 2017, which makes us kind of a dinosaur in the AI industry. We started in smart cities and then went into health and hospitals. And then now we are the preeminent player in restaurant, retail, and convenience. So we're deployed at thousands of locations. And what we do is a little bit different from, I think, what most of the other folks were talking about today. We're going to help you out with your store analytics, your customer analytics, and most importantly, the safety of your employees and customers. So how do we do that? We are leveraging computer vision. So we use the streams that are already in your security cameras up in the ceilings, and we run those streams through our software. And we do this all on-prem. We use edge AI servers that are located on premises. We do not go to the cloud, so it's all trained on-prem as well. Why do we do that? Because of latency, because what we're going to be doing is providing you with dashboard alerts, as well as if you prefer, you can also have a wearable for your employees or a handheld that also can deliver those type of alerts. So let's talk a little bit about use cases. One of the most amazing things about Radius AI, and I used to be Lenovo's head of AI, so why would I leave such a big job and go to a software provider? It's because it is truly the secret sauce that enables AI at the edge. And this platform is 42 different use cases. So if you're an operator out there, I want you to be really careful that you don't buy use cases that sound like shiny objects and buy like 10 or 12 of those, deploy them, and they can't talk to each other. Because in the future, it's going to be all about interoperability and a single platform. So we need to, leverage GPUs and leverage an edge AI asset. So what can we do at the edge for you? So in the area of safety and security, we can basically see anything, right? Because we are leveraging all of the cameras in your system, and we're like on 24/7. We never get tired. So some of the things that we can detect would be any kind of aggressive behavior. So if you've got an issue with maybe organized retail crime or gangs coming in, or theft, or just wacky people doing violent things, jumping over the counter because their fries aren't ready. We see all types of these strange activities. And what we can do is we can either just simply alert an employee. If it's something mild, we could alert a store manager. We can alert the headquarters, or we can even alert the authorities. So we're really being preemptive about the safety of these situations. We can also see if there's a threatening object, a gun or a sword and so forth. And if you've got folks that are watching the video, we can send snippets of that video up to them, and they can then review it and just, determine if it's a child's toy or an actual weapon. We can also detect slip and falls. There's a lot of fake slip and falls that seem to happen in these environments, and we're able to, again, capture that video footage and make sure that you've got what you need to defend yourself if a fake slip and fall happens. We can also detect if there's actually liquid on the floor and give you an alert that you should clean that up to avoid a slip and fall. A lot of scary stuff's happening in parking lots these days. Maybe if some of your locations are kind of teen hangouts, or there's a lot of loitering, vandalism, that all can be seen, and you can get alerts and you can help them move on to more productive activities. All right, so that's kind of the area of customer and employee safety, but what's really important is your store analytics. I can't tell you how many times I talk to retailers or restaurants, and they have absolutely no idea how many customers come through their store. And I'm a single mom, I have 4 children. So if we're going to a restaurant, are there 5 of us as customers or 1? I have to pay the bill, so there's just 1. But those kind of questions are easily answered with intelligent video analytics. So we're going to be able to tell you how many people came into your store that day, how long did they dwell, what was the party size, how long did they stand in line, what's your average queue length. Almost anything you can think of that we could see through a camera, we can do. We recently had a very large QSR ask us about trash alerts. Hey, within 2 minutes, if the table's empty and there's still trash, we want you to alert our employees to go and clean up that table. Same with all kinds of food safety. We can watch, say, the life of a nugget and tell you when it was born and needs to die, right? So we are not, you don't have to worry about some of these food safety issues, replenishment, all of these type of things. And we can also make sure that there's not sweethearting going on at the front counter where, a friend is giving a friend and not actually scanning the item and getting that item at no cost or rung up as the wrong item. We can see all of that as well. So there's some of the store analytics we do. And then moving on to customer analytics, we can tell when a customer just gets frustrated and says, you know what, this line is too long, I am out of here, where you lose a sale. How often does that happen? Without video analytics, you would never know that. So we can help you with that. We can help you with like heat mapping your stores. What are the hot spots? Where do people like to congregate? How long do they stand at the the beverage refreshment stations. Anything you want to know about where are the hotspots? Some people have outdoor patios and they ask us to let them know how many people use those versus dwell inside of the restaurant. If you ask for demographics, we have that capability. Some folks don't want that. We do use what's called skeletal tracking, which means that you are just a skeleton and we can see where you gaze, we can see what you touch, we can see what you pick up and what you interact with and how long you're there, but we cannot tell unless you turn on the analytics, we cannot tell anything about demographics. However, I wanted to point out that we do have that capability if that's something that's important to you. We can handle everything related to the drive-through analytics, curbside metrics, you know, how many orders are coming in and taken out for the Uber Eats and online type ordering systems. All of those type of analytics are in our basket plus more, because there's not even 42 listed here. A lot of times what happens is we will do a pilot and we only will let you do 4 to 5 analytics in a pilot. And that's basically showing you how the technology works, showing you a dashboard, showing you alerts and so forth. And then after that, you have the access to the entire suite of 42 use cases. Plus, we also allow you to do experiments, a couple of experiments at no cost with us. And what I mean by that is if you come up with your own use case and you're, you know, really interested in diving into that and seeing the metrics around it, we can also develop that for you. So we're going to take a look on the next slide at a short video clip of how it works.
The future of security, safety, and loss prevention is actionable real-time intelligence. Protect your employees, your customers, and your business.
So you can see that
AI detects incidents and dispatches alerts. Alerts can be integrated with devices, workstations, audio systems, and more. Here, the security team receives an altercation alert and is directed to an incidents page. The team member is able to
I'm gonna pause it, Andy, so you can go ahead.
all right, so you guys get the gist of it. That is my last slide. So feel free to reach out to me or I can connect you with somebody on our team. And what we can do is what we call a, if you want to just send us a couple hours of your video, we can actually do a video analytics on just a couple hours and present that back to you and tell you what we found. So you can see how it works. And then if you're interested, you can move on to pilot. We're based in Scottsdale, Arizona, and Bellevue, Washington, India, and Turkey. So I'm Andy Hewells. I'll put my contact information in the chat window. And thanks so much for being here.
Thank you, Andy. Appreciate that. It's really cool stuff. I'm gonna
the future of security.
Try to flip over to our last slide. There we go. Sometimes the embedded video doesn't play nicely. We have our final speaker on board here, Jordan Orlick, who's the CEO of Let's Chat. Hey, Jordan.
Hey, Angela. Thank you so much for having myself and the team of Let's Chat here. We're really honored to be here to talk to everyone today. So thank you so much again for everything. And so we at Let's Chat, we do real-time language translation services and innovations. And all of our products span 104 different languages, with our translation accuracies on average about 98% and higher for all the languages that we support. And everything you see on the screen here are all different products we offer in our suite of solutions. Everything is fully customizable and fully integratable into every single solution that currently exists on the market, including everyone here in this amazing video chat today. We can integrate within your systems and within your platforms to make it now ready in 104 different languages. Right off the bat, with possibly about 30 seconds of integration time is what we like to keep it to with all of our products. And so with that, we want to talk about you accessing some of your customers that you currently are getting, but you're not addressing that market currently, just because you're not able to provide in that language. And with Let's Chat, we're able to translate all of your content into those languages for that. We actually, you can see with my background, Comcast is an investor in Let's Chat. And we actually are rolling out next year with the Xfinity platform to 30 million different customers. Will now have translatable content in the stores, on their televisions, on their phones, will now be translated through Let's Chat coming up next year with that. And just a fun few examples here of an example of a parallel vertical that we work with is the automotive space. And in that space, we work with a bunch of different car dealerships. And you're probably like, how are car dealerships relevant to the restaurant space? Well, very, very similar in terms of the customers you'll be receiving. Is everyone needs to buy a car and everyone needs to buy food. But so in the automotive space, we have a car dealership out here, actually in Los Angeles, California, which is where I'm based out of, a Hyundai dealership. And up until us putting the website plugin in, only about 30 days ago, by the way, we put our plugin in, the #1 language at the dealership was Spanish. The second was Korean. Once we put in our plugin, Korean has now moved up to #1, and they've actually noticeably seen an increase in sales. They do about a $20,000 more a month in profit. And their #2 salespeople are the Korean sales individuals who can speak the Korean language to the Korean individuals who go to their website, who show up to the dealership who can now speak in Korean. And now they didn't do anything different in what they're normally doing. They just simply added our plugin so they can now cater to the audience they were getting, but the individuals are more comfortable speaking in Korean. And so really exciting with that. And we're doing a bunch of stuff now in the restaurant space as well. Another example that's more relevant on the restaurant side of the house is there's a very large coffee brand that we're in talks with, and we're actually helping them solve the solution, is where a lot of individuals would go across the street to their local gas station to buy coffee, buy some chips, whatever it may be, because they're scared to speak to an employee in their not native language. So Spanish individuals might go across the street to buy coffee as opposed to going to the restaurant chain to speak there. So we're assisting in that with either translating QR codes to make the menus accessible in different languages, translating anything from the back of house to help with menus and instructions for the employees. Everything like that we can help with and assist with. And as you can see on our cool little wheel there, our most popular product is our website translation, which helps with everything on the website, but we can do everything from voice to text messaging to phone calls to in-person communications, documents, anything like that. And that's what I like to talk about today. And one last thing is when you can provide translations to your customers, it provides dignity to the end user or the end individual where they weren't able to have that before and become a lifelong customer of your business. So thank you so
That's
much.
great.
And really appreciate
Yeah.
the time.
Jordan, I have a question for you.
Mhm.
So we're at time. So we have about 8 minutes or so left. Everybody can put their questions in their chat or raise your hand if you want to ask a live question. But my question is, let's say that it's someone has Let's Chat in the drive-through like Chick-fil-A.
Yep.
Let's say, would the restaurant operator kind of put a sign out there that says, "Speak in your native language, we'll understand you"? Would that be something that, how would people know? I guess is my question.
Great question. So that's actually one solution, right? Is they put a sign out there in the most popular languages, so they could put it in Spanish, French, German, whatever it may be, and say, hey, speak in your language, we can address that. We also have the ability to auto detect. So if someone goes to the drive-thru and starts speaking in Portuguese, we're going to know it's in Portuguese. We'll translate that into English for the employee, or maybe the employee wants to speak Spanish, for example. So the employee can speak back in Spanish and they'll translate into Portuguese for the end customer through the drive-thru, or even in person inside the restaurant when they're at the front desk.
Okay, cool. It's just so interesting. I never come across it, but would be fascinated by how the operator gets that message across so that folks know, like you said, they can speak in whatever language they're comfortable in and be served, and that can be translated to the back of house, for example, in whatever language they're comfortable in. And it's just like takes away the mystery of like lost in translation, right? It's really super cool stuff.
Completely. So thank you. And that's what we love to do and help train the models as well to make sure we get it properly working for each individual use
And
case.
Angela, I have a question for Jordan. So, hey, Jordan, maybe speak into the difference between your technology and ChatGPT and other open AI type platforms. Why is your service different from theirs?
Great question. Yeah, so we have actually, we own our own language models. We've actually been working on it for a little over 8 years now. To train the models, make sure they're perfect. We work very closely with certified human translators to correct all of our work. We train it into the models to make sure it gets updated with that. And we also work with our clients very closely. So if there's any words, any acronyms, any phrases that are very specific, we're going to make sure it's trained in the model so it's going to be translated properly or not translated depending on the word. So for example, the abbreviation CKN for chicken, you don't want that translated most likely. So we're going to keep it as CKN, right? Or whatever it may be with that, which is one thing we're very, very proud about here. And also our integration time is about 30 seconds on average for all of our products. So we keep it very simple out of the box. Once you're done, you're good to go.
Yeah, I thought I didn't hear that right. When you said 30 seconds, I thought, oh, I didn't hear that correctly.
No, that's correct. We've timed all of our customers from our small customers all the way to our enterprise clients. And average is about 30 seconds, which is really exciting.
That's amazing. Any other questions for any of our panelists today? Happy to entertain those. Yes, we have a question. Who was that raised their hand? Santosh, was that you?
I think you're on mute. Oh, no, you're good.
We're not hearing you. Maybe you're on mute. Or maybe he's having some issues. Any other questions for any of the panelists today?
Is everyone going to Murtec?
Albert has a question.
Can you guys hear me now?
Now you're good. Go ahead.
Okay, this question is for Jordan. Jordan, do you have any real-time speech to text service?
Yes, we do. Yep, and we can do that in any of the 104 languages. So we can, we do speech to text with the majority of our products. So we do have an API for that.
Okay, who should I reach out to connect with? Is there any contact that we want to do a demo with it?
Of course. Yeah, so if you send an email to myself or to our contact at letschat.com. Oh, there you go. Okay. Actually, I think Cal just added it into the chat. So that's my direct email. You can reach out to that.
Okay, cool.
Yep. Or contact at Let's Chat. Either one, you'll get us to schedule that for you.
And can it be integrated through an API using Twilio and all, or
of
is
course.
It something that? Okay.
No, that's perfect. Yeah, we actually work very closely with Twilio.
Oh, great. Okay.
We have another question from Albert. Albert, are you on the call asking about sustainability?
Yes, that's me. Yeah, my question was if food waste or, the carbon reduction has been a consideration at all now that AI, I think, is, clearly powerful and has some demonstrated use cases, as some of the speakers in the panel have shown. Has this come up on the board, or still sort of, maybe a tertiary focus?
I've definitely seen use cases out there of that, but maybe Andy, I don't know if that would be in your camp or.
Absolutely. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
All right. So Albert, you're so ahead of the game. We're the #1 player in convenience, and convenience actually a lot of times has a QSR right in it. So what they love is our capability to watch the roller grill, because as you know, those goods need to be thrown away within 4 hours. So, and there's so many different varieties of them, right? But we can integrate with your planogram, because you may think like, how would you differentiate between that chicken taquito and the pork taquito and so forth? But we can actually see when they were put on, as long as they're following the planogram. But even if they don't, the AI can learn it, which is pretty amazing. But and then we can give alerts to the employees, time to swap out the taquitos and so forth, because the average convenience store is 4% food waste on the roller grill, is what we've discovered. So it's really been a valuable solution for them to address that problem.
Great. Well, we are, I believe, right at time. If we didn't get your question, we had Tammy on my team putting everybody's LinkedIn in the chat, which was fantastic. So shout out to anybody on the panel by following on getting to them on LinkedIn, or you can reach me at Angela. It's Angela@restauranttechnologynetwork.com. Feel free to reach out anytime. I just want to give a great big thank you to everyone for their time today. What fantastic information was shared from our speakers, and thank you for all of you for carving out time to listen to more about what's happening in the world of AI in restaurants. We look forward to our next AI Share Group call. If you've registered for this call, you will automatically be invited to the next Share Group call, which may not happen to the new year, because we kind of take a break around the holidays because it's kind of quiet. But we look forward to seeing you all on another call very soon, and thank you for joining us. Have a great day, everybody.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.